some trivia for you. On what day did Christine St. Clair become the all-time leading goal scorer? January 29, 2020 in Texas. She sealed her legacy as the world's greatest goal scorer, delivering goal number 185 in an Olympic qualifier versus St. Kitts and Nevis. No player, man or woman, has tallied more times for their country than St. Clair, who enters tonight's match with a record 190 international goals all time. When she hit 185, she passed the American Abby Wambach. As we welcome you back inside our One Soccer studio, you continue to watch Matchday Live, presented by CIBC. Andy, Jordan, and Jess with you. You knew this conversation was going to come up at some point, right? When you're talking about the GOAT, greatest of all time, when you think of soccer in this country, you are going to think of Christine St. Clair, which of course made us want to know who would be on your Mount Rushmore of athletes. And we're going to go across the board here, not just soccer. And a lot of times, these are personal. Because if we're going to sit here and say greatest athlete of all time, we're going to get into a fight. We're all going to get into a fight. But we only have spots for 4. So if it means something to you and it's emotional, go for it. Jess, let's hear your Mount Rushmore.
My 4 are Wayne Gretzky, Christine St. Clair, Donovan Bailey, and Clara Hughes.
Okay.
So these are the first 4 people that actually popped into my head when I was asked this question. Of course, like you said, you can go on and look at all these great athletes that have come through Canada, but these were my 4. You know, Wayne Gretzky, I feel like he's on everyone's Mount Rushmore. He is the greatest. He's the great one. You know, the thing with Wayne Gretzky is I feel like no matter what sport you played, as an athlete, you were inspired by him somehow. You know, he was able to inspire people. Even you hear people say you miss 100% of the chances you don't. Oh my God! Wow, this looks not do that.
Yeah, you miss.
100%
There you go.
Shots you don't take. That was great. That was great. Yes. So sorry, I can't mess that one up. But he really was somebody that inspired me, even growing up. You know, Clara Hughes is somebody that, imagine being so great at more than one thing. To get 6 medals, to go to 2 different Olympics in the sense of, you know, the Winter and the Summer Olympics. That's insane. That's a different beast of an athlete. Christine St. Clair, I mean, we're here talking about her. She's the GOAT, the greatest soccer player of all time, and obviously coming out of Canada. And obviously for me as a soccer player, I might have some bias there, but she was a huge inspiration for me growing up. So she's definitely on my Mount Rushmore. And Donovan Bailey, I used to love track and field growing up, and I didn't.
I still do.
Yeah, right. I got all those, you know, those red ribbons. Andy.
Red ribbons, baby.
We got to compare our red ribbons.
You're reminiscing over here, Andy Petrillo.
I'll show you mine if you show me yours. But I grew up. Obviously, I didn't see him become the fastest man in the world and be crowned that. That was in '96. I was born in '98. But he was someone. Yeah, I had to throw that in there.
Oh my.
But he was someone that you know, inspired me. I think. To this day, I look and I'm like, how are you still holding that record for the 50-meter?
Yeah.
He's still, no one has beat him.
No one talks about it.
You know, and I think there's a lot of recognition that needs to be given to someone that was, you know, the first Canadian to be crowned the fastest man in the world. And no one since then. So those were my 4. And yeah.
All special 4. I agree with you. Jordan?
You know, great minds think alike. I found out that Jess and I are twins in many ways because, look, I put 5 because I didn't know about the American history, and it's 4, whatever. I'm gonna put 5. I'm cheating.
Did you not count? There's literally 4 heads.
The reason
1, 2,
why,
3, 4.
Look, all the reasons that you said, Andy.
Okay.
There's one in the middle up there. My boy, R.I.P., rest in peace, rest his soul. Terry Fox has to make it up there for Mount Rushmore in Canada. 42 kilometers a day for 143 days, and guess what? On one leg. He has to be there. Christine St. Clair might beat Donovan Bailey, but I just can't really put her there yet because in '96, when I was 5 years old, I'm beating my chest saying that I'm Donovan Bailey. You never thought you would say a Canadian sprinter. We're known for hockey. That's what he did. He might be passing her, though, for the 4th spot. He might be. I put 5 there because we'll see tonight. If she can get a 192, 193, I think I'd put her past Donovan.
You know, I have to say, I mean, I love all of your picks, and obviously when they mean something. I am surprised at how similar they are. I'm also equally surprised that you have a speed skater and Clara Hughes up there, normally because you don't really think of speed skating. A lot of people wouldn't pick an athlete from there, but you're right, she's pretty incredible. By the way, when she won that gold in the 5,000 meter 2006, there's this incredible image of her. She's on the ice, stomach down, and you just see her back heaving. She had just recovered from the flu, and she went out and won the 5,000 meter gold. Okay, so I put together mine. I put it in a little bit of chronological order here and why this actually kind of matters to me, because these were moments in my life that really touched me. Donovan Bailey, I know exactly where I was when I watched him in 1996, cross that line when his eyes bulged out of his head and he screamed and I jumped up. I was at my cousin's house and I was babysitting her dog, Pumpkin. I remember exactly where I was, and that poor dog was so scared to come near me after that when I yelled. Sidney Crosby, I go to the golden goal in 2010. Need I say more about what he's done for the sport of hockey in general as a pro with Pittsburgh and his Stanley Cups, but he's just an incredible human, and I love how he represented Canada. Then I also went Andre DeGrasse, because he's following in the footsteps of Donovan Bailey. Didn't win the 100, but the last Olympics was the 200-meter champion. And he's been to 2 Olympics. He's raced 6 times, and he's been on the podium all 6 times.
Yeah.
So to me, that is pretty, special as well. And then, I gave Joe Carter. Here's the thing. Can you just show me that one more time, my Mount Rushmore? Because I feel like I have a little bit of explaining to do, because unlike Jordan, who flat out just put 5, I have an honorable mention. So Marie-Philippe Poulin, I also put her because I was in attendance, the 2014 Sochi Olympics. Her accolades and resume speaks for themselves as well, but when she scored the tying goal and then scored an OT for Canada, she was absolutely amazing. Joe Carter, not Canadian, but how do you not think of Touch 'em all Joe and what he did for Canada? Yes, like the Toronto Blue Jays are the only Canadian team in the MLB in this country. The entire country went berserk. Come on now.
You know what I noticed with looking at this Mount Rushmore? Is that you can't put 4. Can we do a top 10 next time? This was very difficult. This had me up all night.
Yeah.
I was there like, look, there's no way. Steve Nash you can put on there. There's so many, so many people.
Listen, we could keep going forever and ever and ever.